There is a phenomenon in modern dating that has left countless men confused, frustrated, and emotionally stuck. It goes something like this. A man meets a woman. Perhaps they date for a few months. Perhaps it is just a situationship, or maybe it was only 3 great dates that somehow went nowhere. Then she pulls away. The slow replies begin, the cancelled plans pile up, and eventually there is silence. He does the mature thing. He stops reaching out, starts rebuilding his life, and tries to move forward. And that is when the watching begins. He posts a story from the gym, and within an hour, there is her name in the viewer list. He posts a night out with friends, viewed. He posts his dog, his dinner, the sunset. Viewed, viewed, viewed. Never a message, never a like on anything real, just watching. And his brain starts doing what every man's brain does in this situation. He starts thinking, she still cares. She is thinking about me. Maybe this is her way of keeping the door open. Maybe she is waiting for me to make the first move. The mind spins elaborate theories, constructing entire narratives around a single, silent data point. But here is the truth, and it is a truth that may be colder than most men are prepared to accept. The real answer is not what they want to hear. But once they understand it, the confusion stops, the pain stops, and they can finally move on with clarity. Welcome to the truth about why she watches but never texts. To understand what is really happening, a man must first understand the cost of a story view. When she watches his story, what does it cost her? Absolutely nothing. Zero. Zilch. It takes 2 seconds of her time. There is no response required, no commitment made, no vulnerability risked. She never has to own it. If he ever confronted her, if he said, "Hey, I noticed you are watching everything I post," she has instant deniability. She can simply say, "I watch everyone's stories, so just calm down." And that is the key to understanding this entire dynamic. A story view is the cheapest possible action a human being can take towards another human being. It is one notch above doing absolutely nothing. And yet, men invest tremendous emotional energy decoding this behavior as if it were a secret message sent just for them. They check the viewer list, they track the timing, they analyze the pattern. They build whole theological frameworks around her viewing habits. She watched within 5 minutes. That means she was waiting for my post. She watched but didn't like. That means she is trying to play it cool. She stopped watching for 3 days and then came back. That means she is fighting her feelings. This is the trap. And it is a trap that keeps men stuck for months, sometimes years, orbiting a woman who has not sent them a single word. There are 3 real reasons why a woman watches stories but never texts. And understanding these reasons is the first step toward reclaiming peace of mind and emotional freedom. The first reason is that she is keeping the option warm for free. This is what it looks like. Consistent viewing, total silence. She watches everything but engages with nothing. Why does this happen? Think of it like this. She has not decided if she wants him or not, but she has decided that she does not want to lose access to him. And those are 2 completely different things. Watching his stories is how she keeps a low flame under the pot without ever paying for the gas. If her current situation falls apart, if the new guy does not work out, if her focusing on myself era ends, she knows exactly where he is, what he is doing, and whether he has found a new woman or not. She is maintaining a claim on him. This is how most men interpret it. They think she is still interested. She is just scared. She is just waiting for the right moment. But that is a misinterpretation. Interest moves toward you. Interest costs something. A text, a comment, a risk of looking eager. She is specifically choosing the one form of contact that costs her nothing and commits her to nothing. And that is not fear. That is inventory management. She is treating him like a backup option, a safety net, a resource she can access if she ever needs it. The philosopher Seneca observed that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, and the imagination of what her viewing habits might mean is what causes the suffering. But the reality is far simpler. She is not ready to let him go, but she is also not ready to commit. She wants the comfort of knowing he is still there, but she does not want to do anything to actually keep him. And as long as he is posting content that she can consume for free, she has no reason to change her behavior. So what should a man do in this situation? The answer is nothing. Literally nothing. He should not post for her. He should not block her in a dramatic gesture that she will probably never even notice. And he should not test her by posting things designed to get a reaction. The moment he changes his behavior because of her viewing habits, she is managing his life rent-free. He should post like she does not exist, because, functionally, she does not. The philosopher Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. And a man who is checking the viewer list and adjusting his content to trigger a reaction is not master of himself. He is being controlled by the ghost of a woman who has not spoken to him in months. The second reason she watches but never texts is that she is checking on her own reflection, not on him. This is the one that nobody actually tells men, and it is the reason that most men misinterpret. This is what it looks like. The viewing spikes after certain posts. He posts with a new girl, or he looks particularly good, or he is clearly happy. And suddenly, she is watching everything for 3 days straight, back to back to back. Why does this happen? Because a lot of the story watching after a breakup is not about missing him. It is about her checking the mirror. Did I still matter to him? Does he look worse without me? Is he doing better than me? His story is data about her value, not about her feelings for him. Psychologists refer to this as an ego audit. She is not asking, do I want him back? She is asking, am I still winning? This is how a lot of men see the spike after posting with another woman and think it is jealousy. They think she wants them back. So they start manufacturing content to trigger her. They post with other women. They post their wins. They run a whole campaign for an audience of one. The brutal part is this. Even if it works, even if she reaches out, she may not be coming back because she wants him. She is coming back to make the uncomfortable feeling stop. She saw him with another woman and it bruised her ego, so she reaches out to reclaim the attention. But nothing underneath has changed. She is still the same woman who left. He is still the same man who was left. And within 2 weeks, the fade will start again. The pattern will repeat. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When a man's thoughts are colored by the need for her validation, his soul reflects that. His energy becomes desperate, his actions become performative, and she can smell it from a mile away. Women can smell a story posted at them from a mile away. And it reads as exactly what it is, proof that he has not moved on. The strongest position a man can hold is a life that is not aimed at her. A life that is so full, so rich, so compelling that he does not have time to check who is watching his stories. That is the position of power. That is the position that attracts. Not desperation disguised as success. The third reason she watches but never texts is ambivalence. And ambivalence is the answer. This is what it looks like, occasionally viewing his stories. Sometimes a random like on something small. Maybe once, every few weeks, she replies to a story with something meaningless. A laughing emoji. No way. And then she vanishes again when he tries to build on it. Why does this happen? Because she has real mixed feelings. Part of her misses the comfort, the attention, the version of herself that was around him. But it is not enough to act right. And this is where a man needs to hear something important. Ambivalence is a decision. When someone cannot decide about him for weeks or months, that is the answer. Because when a woman actually wants a man, truly wants him, the defining feature is that she cannot leave it alone. She finds reasons to text him. She manufactures contact. She invents excuses to be in his orbit. Ambivalence only exists when the want is not strong enough to beat the cost. The cost of vulnerability. The cost of rejection. The cost of looking eager. If she wanted him badly enough, she would pay the cost. Men often treat ambivalence like a scale that is almost tipped. They think she is 60-40. If I do the right thing, I can get her to 100. So they wait. They keep the porch light on. They stay half available for months, quietly rejecting other women who actually show up because the ghost might come back. This is disaster waiting to happen. The philosopher Hierocles wrote that we should approach others as we would approach ourselves, with patience and understanding. But patience should not be confused with waiting. Patience is active. It is building. It is growing. It is becoming a man who is so complete that he does not need anyone to complete him. Waiting is passive. It is hoping. It is stagnating. And it is the fastest way to waste years of a man's life on someone who was never fully invested. There is a story that illustrates this perfectly. A client, let us call him David, dated a woman for 4 months. She ended it with the classic line, "I am not ready for a relationship right now." He took it with grace. He went no contact. He started training, building his life, moving forward. And she watched everything he did. Everything. For 7 good months. She was the first viewer, almost every story. David tracked it, which by the way is its own problem. Every week in their sessions, some version of the same question came up. But why will she keep watching if she does not care? He had built a whole theology around her viewing habits. She was scared. She was waiting for him to make the first move. She was testing whether he would wait for her. 7 months of his life orbiting a woman who had not sent him a single word. Then she posted a hard launch of her new boyfriend. It turned out she had been with this new guy for 5 of the 7 months. She was watching David's stories the entire time she was building a relationship with another man. And when David finally asked her about it, because he needed to know, do you know what she said? She said, "I do not know. Your stories just come up." I really was not thinking about it. That is the sentence that should be tattooed behind every man's eyelids. I was not really thinking about it. The thing he had spent 7 months decoding, she performed it on autopilot with her boyfriend asleep right next to her. 2 seconds of her thumb. 7 months of his life. That is the exchange rate on story views. That is the actual price. And it is a price that no man should ever pay. Here is why the focus needs to shift from her to him. Her watching his stories is not the problem. Him watching her watching him is the problem. If he knows she viewed his story within an hour, he checked. If he knows she is always in the first 5 viewers, he is tracking. Which means the ghost is not haunting him. He is holding the seance. He is posting, then checking, then interpreting, then feeling something. Hope, anger, satisfaction based on 2 seconds of her thumb. She is living in his head on a lease he keeps renewing. The Stoic philosopher Musonius Rufus wrote that we should not use our words to command, but to persuade and to teach. And the same applies to our attention. A man should command his own attention. He should persuade himself to look away from what does not serve him. He should teach himself that attention is not investment. Watching is not the same as wanting. A story view is the cheapest possible action a human being can take towards another human being. And a woman who wants him does not do the least. When a woman wants a man, she risks something. She finds a reason, any reason, to be back in the room. Wanting leaks. It cannot stay silent for months because silence is unbearable when someone is actually wanting someone. The philosopher Cleanthes wrote that the fates guide the willing, but drag the unwilling. A man who is willing to see the truth is guided toward peace. A man who is unwilling, who clings to the fantasy that her viewing habits mean something, is dragged into months of confusion and wasted time. So the question was never, why does she keep watching? The question was, why is a man still performing for someone who left the theater? The move is simple, not easy, but simple. Stop checking the viewer list. Better yet, if a man cannot stop checking, he should mute her or remove her as a viewer. Not as revenge. Not so she feels it, because she will not. And that is the point. Do it because every time he checks that list, he is voting for a version of his life where she is still the main character. She gets to watch or she gets to matter. She does not get both, and only he decides which one it is. If a woman from his past wants back into his life, let her buy a real ticket. Words, effort, risk, showing up. Anything less, and she is not knocking on his door. She is just walking past the window. And his job is to be so busy building something behind that window that he does not even notice who is looking in. The philosopher Zeno of Citium taught that the goal of life is to live in agreement with nature. And it is human nature to grow, to build, to move forward. When a man is building his life with purpose and intention, he naturally stops caring about who is watching from the past. He is too busy creating a future. He is too focused on the woman who is showing up, the woman who is investing, the woman who is paying the cost of admission. He does not have time to decode the behavior of someone who left. He has moved on. And that moving on is not a performance. It is a reality. If a man has been stuck in this pattern, he needs to hear this. The woman who watches but never texts is not a mystery. She is not a puzzle to be solved. She is not a test to be passed. She is a woman who has made a choice, and her choice is to do the least possible while keeping him as a backup option. That is not love. That is not respect. That is not the foundation of anything meaningful. And he deserves more than that. He deserves a woman who cannot stay away, a woman who risks something to be with him, a woman who texts first, who shows up, who pays the cost. Anything less is not worth his time, his energy, or his peace of mind. The philosopher Epictetus wrote that it is not what happens to us, but how we react to it that matters. And how a man reacts to being watched but not wanted determines whether he stays stuck or moves forward. The choice is his. He can continue to check the viewer list, continue to build theories, continue to hope. Or he can close the window, turn his back on the ghost, and walk into a future that is built on real connection, not cheap attention. The choice is clear. The action is simple. The peace that follows is the reward. If this video helped you in one way or another, please consider supporting the channel using the Super Thanks feature. Your support means a lot, and it helps us keep creating better content specially for you. Every contribution goes directly into improving the quality of these videos and bringing you more of the Stoic wisdom and psychological insights that you have come to expect. Thank you for being part of this journey. Stay grounded, stay present, and I will see you right here in the next one.